Hey everyone, it's 10 Types, and Pitch Black is right around the corner, and that means it's time for pre-release, and I'm super excited. I hope I'm going to go to a Pitch Black pre-release. I certainly want to. And pre-release is a super fun format. Today I'm going to be going over how the format works a little bit if you're not familiar, as well as just tips and the decks in the pre-release format that you'll be seeing, or I guess the kits, the 40 card decks you get, you can then change them, and then some tips to changing the decks, playing, things like that here. I'm pretty sure these lists are accurate. I found them online. Of course, I'm making this video before the kits are like officially revealed, right? So hopefully it's accurate. When I've done this in the past, it's been accurate. But yeah, if there's anything that's like off, then tell me that in the comment section. Hopefully it's all good. And also in the comment section, tell me your thoughts before the pre-release and also after the pre-release. Anything you've noticed. But anyways, let's hop right in here. Of course, Pitch Black is the set we're taking a look at. It has 84 cards in it. And, the cards you pull for your packs are meaningful, I think, in terms of things to watch out for. Previously, we've seen disruption in the packs. I don't think we have that really in this set. So, no Gust really either. Nothing crazy to watch out for, I don't think. There's some stuff, but we'll get into it a little bit. But ultimately, the set is a really cool set for Standard. For Prerelease, it's kind of cool as well, and we have the 4 kits here today. First kit here, by the way, I'm looking at these cards on Limitless, and then we will obviously be translating the cards to English so we can read them. But yeah, this is what we're looking at. Again, the set's not actually fully out because that's why we're looking at the pre-releases. But we see the first deck. This is Hide and Sneak. I believe the promo's Delmise. I actually don't know that off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. And it says for 1 Psychic, you do 30. Keep in mind, you do 30 if you don't have the buff there. You also have 3 retreat costs. These things matter more in pre-release, where you're going to struggle to switch out, and you may be attacking for less damage and still be doing something meaningful. And you have 140 HP here as well. And then if you have 4 Pokemon with the ability to translate as Hide and Sneak officially in your discard pile, then you do 140 more damage. And then we have the Pokemon with Hide and Sneak. You got the Shuppet, the Bayonet, the Poltergeist, and the Sidistra. The Sidistra is interesting here. With Macho Spin, if you have 6 more Pokemon with Phantom Hide or with Hide and Seek in your discard, then you put 4 damage cards on each of your opponent's Pokemon. And the third attacker there would be, I guess, the Spiritomb. If you have 30 or more Pokemon with Hide and Seek in your discard, then you choose 2 of your opponent's Pokemon and quadruple the amount of damage cards on each of them. This is really interesting, doing, a bunch of damage, theoretically, obviously paired with the Sinistra there. And so then you're going to have, 140 damage cards on 2 of your opponent's Pokemon. To be honest, I don't think Spiritomb is good. Well, I don't think it's good in Standard. In pre-release, I don't know. We'll take a look at the kit and the discard you have in the kit and stuff like that in just a second. But I do think it is pretty sketchy. My gut's telling me to cut it. If you played in it, obviously after this video's been out a little bit, tell me if you see people using this and it being particularly good. It seems not very good. 13 or more Pokemon in the discard with this ability is a lot. You have 16. Also, what the ability does, I'll pull up the Bayonet here to show it off. It prevents all effects of attacks and abilities from your opponent's Pokemon done to this Pokemon. This is useful, I guess, against the Sidistra, as well as the Spiritomb there. Will stop those. Looking at the other ones, I don't know all of them off the top of my head, but I don't think it's really stopping too much there. But it is something to keep in mind that could come up in games from time to time, especially in the mirror there. And then the Bayonet itself also does 80 for 1 Psychic, and then searches for any card, puts into your hand. This card's also pretty good. Has decent HP. Some of the Pokemon in this deck have pretty trash HP. Okay, Bayonet doesn't have very good HP, but it has 20 more than the Sidistra. It has 50 more than the Poltergeist, right? So it's a pretty solid attacking option, I guess. And it searches for any card, which is good. We see Iris's Fighting Spear and Gwen as supporters that discard cards from your hand. Keep in mind, Gwen does discard Pokemon without rule boxes from your hand to draw 3 cards each. Super good. You want to play enough Pokemon. I don't think it's a huge issue. It currently plays 18 Pokemon, so that should be fine. Also, if you don't know this, you can play more than 4 of a card in pre-release. So the way pre-release works, I didn't say it, but you get 1 of 4 promos that aligns to a essentially deck of 40 cards you get. And then you can, I believe, add any basic energy you want, and then any cards to your packs, then you remove cards from your deck. So you'll end up with a 40 card deck in the end. You can play more than 4 card if you pull a copy of it. That's not crazy here. This set, as I said, is 84 cards. It's not very big. And then also, I'm going to see these cards. And I'm sure this one's common. This one's uncommon. This one is uncommon as well. And this one is common, assuming the rarities stay the same there. So, it's pretty reasonable to be pulling some of those cards. The Delmise is very good as an attacking option. Pulling it off turn 1, you have Ultra Ball, you have Gwen, theoretically as possible. I don't really think that's going to happen, though. I wouldn't really bet on it there. The attacking turn 2, I think, is relatively reasonable there. And then Delmise is super good. So Delmise is a very good card. It's going to be it might be the best card in the set, honestly. And it is good, right? It is legitimately good. If you pull that card and you're playing this kit, I think that's really good. I would cut the Spiritomb, as I said, I think, but maybe if you add more Pokemon with the ability, maybe you could play the Spiritomb more. I mean, I don't think the attack's even that good, to be honest. Quadrupling damage on 2 of your opponent's Pokemon sounds really cool, but I think most of the time they're either not going to have damage counters on them, or they'll be knocked out. So, in which case, I guess they also don't have damage counters on them, or they'll have a bunch, you just kind of finish them off, or they have barely any, and then you do nothing. Spiritomb's not a horrible card, I guess, but I probably wouldn't play it there. It does work with Telepathic Psychic Energy, which is kind of cool, I guess. Also, in terms of getting Pokemon in your compile with the ability, getting knocked out will be a part of that, I imagine, as well. Though, of course, the games are for prizes, if you didn't know, with the 40-card decks there. So, this kit, I definitely think, has some strengths. I'm not going to be, ranking the kits, because, quite simply, you get whatever kit you get, and if it's bad, then that's unfortunate, I guess, but you get what you get, right? So knowing how to play with and against the kits is important there. But keep in mind, this kit is going to be doing some spread damage stuff, and the Delmise is pretty powerful. Also does have the retreat, though, as I said earlier, so that is kind of rough for it, potentially. Then we see the next deck. This is the Miraidon deck. Miraidon is an interesting card here. Actually, it's not that interesting in Standard, but it's moderately interesting in Prerelease here. For 2 lightning, do 90 and 30 to yourself. This is pretty efficient damage turn 2. And then if it's in the active and knocked out by damage from an attack from your opponent's Pokemon, again, this is damage from an attack. So if your opponent's using Sinistcha or I don't know, probably Sinistcha in that situation, then that would not trigger this ability. That attack's also slower, so it probably won't matter too much. But move up to 2 basic energy from this Pokemon to one of your bench Pokemon. So that is, I don't know if energy acceleration, but keeping energy in play. And there's something very important to this card as well, because we have the special energy, Volt Lightning Energy. This one it provides a lightning energy, right? And it provides lightning energy on any Pokemon. It can be attached to any Pokemon, whatever. But then attacks used by the lightning Pokemon this card's attached to do 20 more to your opponent's active. This is quite nice. Theoretically, you could be swinging for, and again, keep in mind you are doing 30 yourself with Miraidon, but that's not too terrible. 90, you can do as much as 130 turn 2, which is kind of crazy. And then we also see this Volt. There we go. That's the name of it. I can do 50 snipe. Keep in mind, Volt Lightning Energy, I'm pretty sure, is just active damage there. Giga Railgun for 2 lightning, you do 260, which is obviously a ton of damage, but only if you have Volt Lightning attached. Ultimately, I don't think this Volt line is super good, but I mean, you kind of have to play it. And Rare Candy is in the Stage 2 decks as well. There are 2 Stage 2 decks, each running 2 Rare Candy. The one is running Team Rocket's Petrol as well, but it's we'll talk about that one in a second. But it is interesting with Volt Lightning Energy being pretty important to the deck, specifically the Vikavolt. It's less important for the Miraidon, but it is still nice to apply early pressure. Potentially can be really good there. And then, I mean, that's about it. I haven't really talked about the trainers. Most of them are Hilda getting an evolution in an energy is good. It can search special energies as well, of course. Lily's is obviously good. It's always shuffle, draw 6. The proc scouting against the Pokemon is good. Empty's hype. If you didn't know this card, you draw 2, but if your opponent has 3 or fewer prizes remaining, you draw 2 more. So draw 4. This is a card that's good in pre-release. It's not so good in not pre-release, but it is good in pre-release there. Yeah, and then we see, Gwen, I mentioned that one earlier, and Iris is Fighting Spirits, discard a card from hand, draw till you have 6. Generally, most of the supporters are pretty good. You should play all of them. Honestly, most of the trainers, Ultra Ball, Pokepad, those are obviously very good cards just in general, so play them, right? There's not too much to say there. You might need to cut into some of your energy or Pokemon lines or something like that if you pull some more trainers or something like that. But yeah, definitely, presumably you should be playing all your trainers most of the time. sorry, the trainers in your like 40 card kit, not necessarily all the cards you pull for packs. Some of those trainers are not going to be very good. Then we have the Bastiodon kit. Bastiodon is a really unique Pokemon here. It has the ability Ancient Wall, which, by the way, only works on your bench. You prevent all damage done to your Pokemon from attacks. Again, this is damage, so Sinistcha would get by this. But all damage from attacks to your opponent's Pokemon that have 2 or less energy attached. So look at pretty much all the Pokemon, not all of them, but quite a few. And yeah, I mean, this is really going to shut them down some, but they can just like attach after. It's not like crazy broken. I say it's like shut stuff down. It's gonna shut stuff. It's gonna shut down like the Bayonet and the Delmise, I imagine. It will shut down Miraidon kind of. But they could probably get the third one on. In the mirror, I don't know. I guess we'll get to that in a second with the Skarmory. And then against this last deck, there's Ignition Energy with Silvally, but it could definitely shut them down there. Keep in mind, this is a stage 2, and it does evolve from a fossil. It does 160 for 3 as well, which is pretty powerful. It does have 4 retreat costs as well, but we see Magnetic Metal Energy giving you free retreat on a metal Pokemon, which is kind of cool. And 1 Hilda to search it out. Shieldon does, I think, 50 and okay, discards an energy from your opponent's active. Keep in mind, hide and sneak will stop it. How much does that matter? Probably not that much, but this can definitely hurt some decks by, getting rid of their energy. And then we see the Skarmory. By the way, the Skarmory is the only basic in the deck. Well, it's not the only basic in the deck, as in there are other fossils which you can play. So in terms of having enough basics, like on your turn, not running out of Pokemon to play, Skarmory isn't the only one. You have the fossil as well. However, Skarmory is the only Pokemon you can start, so if you cut down on Skarmories if you want to, which has happened with the Perfect Order pre-release, which I played in with the Tyrantrum, you take a lot of mulligans. I took an average of probably like 5 mulligans every game, and I think 2 out of the 3 or 4 rounds, a judge had to be called because people are taking too many mulligans. So do be careful there, and running on a lot of basics will cause you to take more mulligans. This gives your opponent more cards, and that can be bad, obviously. And probably will be bad. I think all these decks have... Well, okay, actually, one funny thing is there's like the no hand size deck. Maybe taking more mulligans with that is sketchy, but I'd still take the cards. And the other ones, they have some like really high ceilings, a little bit difficult to get going, not like too bad, but Skarmory is this is your basic you're looking at, and so you might mulligan a lot until you hit it, and if you want to cut it down, then you'll be mulliganing even more. But Steel Cutter here, it does, you discard up to 2 basic metal from your hand, and you do 40 for each card discarded in this way. I would still play the special metal energy because having free retreat on these the fossil evolutions, they have high retreat costs, so that could definitely be nice there. But do keep that in mind there. You can attach the magnetic metal to Skarmory and then discard the basic metals as well if you want. We do see the supporter card Philippe, which is a little interesting, attaching up to 2 basic metals when you discard to 1 of your metal Pokemon. Pretty nice in the late game for accelerating to the Bastiodon. Bastiodon obviously is kind of expensive here, right? So it's not like horribly expensive, but using Philippe can be nice there. Then we see the actual fossil itself. If you don't know how these work, they are items, but then you can play them onto your bench like Pokemon. They can't be affected by special conditions. They also cannot retreat. Anytime, though, you can discard them from play. Obviously, they're not in play anymore, so it's like kind of a switch, but you do lose it. Then Shield Guard, if it's in the active, all your Pokemon take 10 less damage from attacks. Yeah, not the best ability there, but it is an ability there. And then we also see Fossil Excavation Site. Yeah, that's the name of it. Once on your turn, each player's turn. So keep in mind, if you are playing against this card and you're not playing a fossil deck, then this will allow you to search your deck. You don't need to have any valid targets. You can just search your deck. You need to have bench space and a deck, I believe. But if you have those conditions, you can search your deck for prizing or whatever, and you should do that. I would recommend that. It's something I do a lot. Honestly, I'll probably do it a bunch of times in the game just to check, because I don't really prize check because I'm lazy. But yeah, anyways, you search for up to 2 fossils and put them onto your bench. You could also play... I was gonna say you could just like play random fossils like the new deck or something, but that's kind of stupid. And then you could play, again, more fossils or more of the stadium. Keep in mind, in the mirror, obviously, stadium is something both you and your opponent can use. So if you have a situation where your hand is good, and you have like the fossil in your hand, keep in mind also it gets the fossils from the deck, so it doesn't get them from your hand. Not that it really matters, you can just play them down, but I do keep that in mind. And then with the stadium, then it helps your opponent. So if you have a good hand, then don't play it. And there are some times when even if you have a bad hand, and your opponent also has a bad hand, you might not want to play it. That's pretty risky, and I would play it. And even in those situations where you help your opponent, you still get to use the stadium first. So, it's fine. Also, the deck plays Energy Search. That definitely feels kind of random. It's not super powerful. Hilda isn't like super powerful in general, but it's like okay. It gets you 2 cards, it's 1 card. The cards it gets you are pretty solid. Not crazy good, but it's solid. Energy Search doesn't really do that. It gives you some flexibility theoretically, but I don't really think it's super good here. Definitely a card you could cut. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know why it's here, to be honest. Then we have the last deck. This is my favorite deck. This is the no hand deck. So we have this Slowbro, which says you do 210 if you have no cards in your hand, otherwise you do 50. You could also do 110 for 3 colors here, and you could also do 130 for 3 colors with Silvally. This has a really cool ability. Once your turn, if you have no cards in hand, you may use this ability to search for any support or reveal it, put into your hand. It doesn't say reveal it, but you definitely reveal it. And then you can do 130 for 3 colors and discard an energy for this Pokemon. You will only be using Ignition Energy with that. Honestly, the deck doesn't run a lot of energy. It doesn't run Energy Search. In some ways, this is good because it's kind of hard to thin your hand out of energies, but Energy Search is a card you can just thin, you could play, and then just not find anything with. And the deck actually runs a decent check of supporters, which is like kind of makes sense for Silvally, but is Tranquility is like a switch. And yeah, I guess that's actually it, right? Because it heals an EX, but you don't have any EXs. So, yeah, like Azu's Tranquility feels a little weird. It is a switch that is searchable. Oh, it plays Air Balloon. I completely missed that as well when I was looking at this earlier, which is kind of weird. The one has 2 retreat, and the one has 3 retreat. Also, I didn't mention this yet, but the Slowpoke discards any amount of cards from your hand for 1 Psychic there. This obviously allows you to thin. It also plays like telepathic psychic energy. This deck's a bit weird. It does run Prism Tower to help you discard. Keep in mind with Prism Tower, this is, well, 1, you do draw a card, right? You discard 2, draw 1. So you could just draw a card that you can't play, and that's unfortunate. But 2, specifically against the hide and sneak deck, that deck wants to get things in their discard pile. Prism Tower can legitimately be really bad for you. Also against literally any deck, most of the time, honestly, I feel like you can discard 2 cards to draw a card. There are often 2 cards that you don't really need. Seeing another card can be really good, especially if your opponent isn't in a super good position or is in a pretty good position where they're looking to like kind of lock up the win with something big. So Prism Tower definitely a card you need to be careful with in a lot of different ways. It can be really good, but as a stadium can help your opponent there. So definitely a lot of things to watch out for with this deck. Also, like, how do you get down to no cards in hand? A few things to keep an eye out for. Well, okay, it's mostly Ultra Ball. I'm not gonna lie. And then you Ultra Ball away the cards you can't play. Then you play the cards that you can play, and then you attack. Right. So that's what you're doing there. You can still do 50 for 1 Psychic. Just like with the Delmise earlier, you're attacking for, well, I guess 1 Psychic and doing less damage, or you're doing a lot more damage if you meet this somewhat difficult criteria. Attacking for that little bit of damage can be big, and I mean even for like actually progressing the game, if both you and your opponent are like kind of stuck, not doing too much, so swinging for 50, not terrible. I mean, it's not very good, but it could definitely be worse there. And yeah, I mean, honestly, the deck is pretty interesting, I think. But you can use Team Rock Spectral to find Ultra Ball to discard stuff. Prism Tower does draw you a card. Keep in mind if you have like a weird hand where like it's Ultra Ball and another card, or I don't know, like sometimes you can end up with these hands with like multiple Ultra Balls, and you kind of need like to change the number of cards in your hand. Prism Tower will reduce the number of cards in your hand by 1. It will leave you with a card in hand, but it does change your hand size, which can be important for Ultra Ball there. So definitely some really interesting gameplay patterns for this deck, I think. Also plays Energy Recycler. I just realized that's like super weird. I don't actually think that's very good. It's not thinnable if you don't have a basic energy in the discard pile. Recovering basic energies isn't that good. It only runs 3. It can't even recover 5 basic energies. So it's kind of weird here. But then we have some other stuff to talk about. Cards to maybe include and watch out for. Of course, there are EXs. If you pull something like the Rantis EX, I mean, that's pretty awkward to include in a deck. Is it doable? Like maybe with this attack here. Probably not the lightning one. Probably not the metal one either. Maybe the no hand size one. I don't really know. But a lot of these cards aren't super good. I mean, this Tropius here, looking at the top 6, really any Pokemon you find there, putting them into your hand, shuffle the rest back. Honestly, not terrible for setting up, especially with a high HP of 110. Would I play this card? I probably would play it in the hide and seek deck. In the other decks, I probably wouldn't. But it's definitely an interesting card to watch out for. Of course, more of the hide and seek Pokemon are good. Then you look at, I mean, obviously an EX could be good. Oh, Relicanth. Relicanth for the fossil decks are really interesting. If you pull this card for one colorless, you do 30, or you do 10, 30 more for each Pokemon on your bench with the Antique in this name. Honestly, this would be way better than the Skarmory, way more interesting than the Skarmory. Oh, by the way, Skarmory can threaten 80 turn going second, so that's kind of scary. Watch out for that. If you can play around that, you never know, but it could be good to do. And this Relicanth, though, can do a ton of damage turn going second, or just whenever you can attack with it for, again, one colorless there. And for each bench Pokemon with the Antique in its name, which are the fossils there. So for that reason, you could play any like extra fossils you play, especially like even if they are the other one that have also Rampardos EX, then you can still get more damage from Relicanth, and you can search it out with Stadium. So that's kind of interesting there. Relicanth is really good for the fossil deck, I think, allowing you to swing for. I assume the deck plays 4 fossils, right? Yeah. So it allows you to swing for theoretically 130 there, you're probably looking more at like 100, maybe even like, I think 40 turn one's not amazing. It's not honestly that bad though. But 70 turn one's looking pretty good, and then 100 is like really, really amazing. So honestly, a really nice card there. Then we look at, something like Mega Zero or EX is definitely worth running. I mean, it's pretty good. Well, it's not that good of a card, but in pre-release, it's pretty good, right? As a hit and run attack, allowing you to, be really careful with prizing, force your opponent to like go through a lot of stuff. And then Thunder Fist is just like pretty good. I mean, it's not an amazing card by any means, but in here, it's pretty amazing, right? It's gonna be. I mean, it has a lot of HP. It does a good chunk of damage. Probably don't go swinging this at first. Some people have this, which is now very much a misconception. The idea of like, oh, I'm going to put a mega, just like a bunch of energies, and that's it. Maybe some trainers or something, and just seeing how it goes. That probably won't work like at all, because the megas, or sorry, the megas will get like 2-shot or maybe 3-shot, and aren't really applying any interesting pressure. So they're usually not worth. I mean, they can be worth running certainly, but they're like, don't go completely all in on them without like any other game plan, right? This will get like knocked out by any of the decks within a handful of turns, presumably losing you the game there. This card's not bad though. It is definitely really good if you do manage to pull it. In the Lightning deck, wouldn't play in any other deck though. Then we see, more stuff from the evolution lines you're in. You got this wacky Jinx. I don't think it's worth running there, though. Again, Delmai is amazing if you pull it for the one deck. Mega Shadow is a goofy card that is psychic. I probably wouldn't play it. It does 30 for each colorless and your opponent's active Pokemon's retreat cost. This is... I'm going to quickly look through Pokemon. I think it's okay. There's a Pokemon with high retreat costs. It's not like taking one-shots on anything, but it's okay, I guess. Though I wouldn't play it there. And then Drillbur with Call for Family, not too bad. Would I play this? Keep in mind this compared to the Tropius we looked at earlier. Tropius gets a Pokemon into your hand, allowing you to discard them, and also getting evolutions. Drillbur is an attack. The Tropius is also an attack, but this is. I mean, can attack for 3 colors, doing 50 as well. I don't know. Drillbur has like something going for it, I guess. Obviously, or if you don't know that, it involves in a Mega Extra EX of the set, which is a good card, I guess. If you pulled Mega Extra EX and Drillbur, I'd certainly like play it if you're playing the Metal Kit. If you're not, I wouldn't play it. But this card's okay. Funnily enough, in the Metal Kit, you don't have that many basics to search for with Drillbur. But ultimately, Drillbur searching for basics is okay. I'm just like trying to think if I'd play it. I probably, I don't know. I wouldn't play it personally. Is it worth running? Probably not. Something like Mega Darkrai, if you pulled it, would I play it? I probably wouldn't. It's kind of clunky there. It can do some stuff, but it's pretty clunky. Then we got some more Darkness Pokemon. Thievul is actually pretty cool. If you have no cards in your hand, you copy one of your opponent's Pokemon's attacks. Honestly, a lot of the attacks you're going to be copying are kind of trash. So probably don't play this card. It's like probably my favorite card from the set, but it's not very good, and here it's quite not good. So probably don't run that one. We got just some different Darkness Pokemon. Honestly, really surprised there's not a Darkness deck. I don't mind it too much. I probably would have swapped out the Lightning one with Darkness, but I like Lightning, so I'm not going to be complaining there. And yeah, there was some good Doctor stuff. I doubt you'd actually be playing this stuff. It's not that good. It's like okay. The GU is pretty solid theoretically, but in terms of this format, it's probably just okay. If you could like somehow put it in your deck with like a darkness deck, which doesn't really exist. So yeah, overall the cards are kind of meh. For that, you look at some of these Pokemon here, which are okay, like good if you get them, but obviously they're evolution lines, so harder to get. And then this is Bombardier. This card's actually really funny on a double coin flip. If both are heads, then you search for any Pokemon, put it onto your bench directly. It's really funny, pretty bad, I would say. But I guess Speedwing 100 for 3 colors and has 100 HP. Not terrible. 1 tree cost. It's like interesting, I guess. I wouldn't again play this card, but it is interesting there. We also have some interesting trainers here to watch out for. Dark Bell, confusing both active Pokemon. It's okay. Honestly, I feel like in this format, it's even worse than it is in standard. And I'm not like, I mean, I think the card's gonna be solid in standard, but I don't think it's gonna be as good as some people are saying. Here, like a lot of times, people kind of retreat out or evolve, and yeah, I mean, I feel like that's just gonna happen some, or they'll just like hit through you, like attack and then do it. So, it's not terrible though. Is it worth playing? Probably. Some of the Pokemon do have high retreat costs, but a lot of those have ways of switching out as well. And those higher retreat costs Pokemon actually don't even want to necessarily be in the active. So, yeah. Also with the Bastiodon, you want a Bastiodon on the bench because that's how the ability works. You probably want a Bastiodon also in the active. It's kind of clunky there. You might just want Skarmory in the active, be swinging with that for some damage until you run out of energy, and they're not swinging for any more damage. But Bastiodon is kind of wacky in that way. But again, you do have magnetic metal energy there. And then like with the Gladion, or sorry, not the Gladion, with the Silvala, you have Az's Tranquility there. Then we have, some more fossils. We got Heroic Bomb, just don't play that. Backtrack Badge, also don't play that. It only works with, I guess it works with Pick a Peck. It works with Trumbeak as well, apparently. I didn't even realize that. And then this Bombardier is pretty bad. Boosted Energy, not good. I guess, it does accelerate a bunch of water energy, which is kind of cool, but I don't think like maybe the no hand size deck, the Slowbro deck, can take advantage of it because you have a bunch of colorless energy in your attack cost. But I mean, that seems kind of bad, and it ends your turn. It's not great. Rest Syndicate Grunt, this card here, you can only play it if you're knocked out last turn, discard an energy from your opponent's Pokemon. Honestly, a super solid supporter here, one that I would probably be running if you pulled it. Gladius Decisive Battle is really interesting. This is a no hand size supporter. Obviously, going to be played in any deck, though. Increase the damage you do by your Pokemon that don't have a rule box, which is, presumably all of them, to your opponent's active here by 80. 80 extra damage is a lot of extra damage. So is Gladius Decisive Battle worth running? That's a good question. I think with the 4 Ultra Balls in the hide sneak, I don't know. I mean, you're getting a big hand. I would probably play it. Again, is me saying I would play it, saying you should play it? Probably not, right? You probably shouldn't play this card. You're probably never gonna be able to actually play the card. The upside is pretty good, though it is somewhat situational. There'll be times when the 80 won't even get you there, and more likely there will be times when the 80 isn't needed, right? So it's more so funny. If I pulled the hand size kit, would I play it? I imagine the gut reaction is like, yeah, of course you can search it out since I do pair with Silvally, but then you're going from 210 damage to 290 damage. Presumably shouldn't matter unless you're against some mega, and even if you are, you should still be fine. I mean, you're getting a search your deck for any supporter you want, which is good. I mean, a supporter that won't increase your hand size because then you can attack, but you get like Bark Scouting, Keymarks Petrol to get any trainer, Hilda, whatever. So you can get some different options there, and then Gladius Decisive Battle is not really necessary, so probably don't run it, to be honest. Then we have Gwen. This card is super good. I'd run this in every deck, honestly, if I pulled it. The no hand size deck's a little sketchy. It's going to end up with you having a bunch of cards in hand, but you can't really complain too much about that. And then, yeah, I mean, it just draws cards with a supporter. It's a good card. I think it's like legitimately the best card in the set. Yeah, it's good. It's just good. You do need to be playing enough non-Rulebox Pokemon. Certainly, the Hide and Seek deck's playing enough. The Lightning deck is probably fine. It's kind of sketchy for the metal deck, and again, it's also kind of sketchy for the no hand size deck, though for slightly different reasons there. But if you're playing this card, if you pull multiple copies, I definitely play them, then maybe bulk up your Pokemon count a little bit. Maybe even playing some slightly weaker ones, maybe some of those support Pokemon. Kind of look into what you're kind of things like that, see if it's okay. But Gwen, definitely a card that is good. Then obviously the stadium, play it if you're pulling, if you're playing the fossils. Don't play this Darkest Special Energy and Full Take Lightning Energy here. This card, you do 20 more with your Lightning Pokemon. Super good with a Lightning deck, I guess. The one weird thing is with the Miraidon, then you don't get to keep it around. But I mean, I honestly just like attack with Charger Bug for more damage. I feel like is nice. With Miraidon for more damage, I think this card's super good. I'd play it if I pull it. If I pulled multiple copies of it, I'd be a little more sketchy about it. But ultimately, it is a pretty good card that I would play there. Then there are a few cards, if you didn't know, I believe the cards that are in this set that are not from the Japanese expansion Abyss Eye are going to be Mega Delphox EX, which you can't play because the previous evolutions are in the set. Mega Slowbro EX, which you can play. If you pull Mega Slowbro EX and you're playing the there is a Slowpoke in the set. Not this one, but there is one, and it's the one in the no hand size deck. And yeah, with that deck, you should presumably play Mega Slowbro EX. It's not like honestly that good of a card. But it's not great, but it's not terrible. I mean, if you attack with it, it is pretty good. You do 180, and then you put 12 damage counters on the attacking Pokemon, which probably also knocks them out. It's kind of crazy, honestly, in this setting, except for the fact that it has like terrible synergy with the deck that it would actually go in. Like you only play 5 Psychic Energies in your deck, and yeah, it's kind of clunky there, but it is really powerful. And then there is Jet. This is hot trash. It's supported that pretty much does nothing. So it's pretty terrible in standard. It draws 1 for each Mega your opponent has in play. Drawing you in standard probably an average of 1 card. There will be a lot of times when it's completely useless. And okay, I said an average of 1 card. No, it's probably an average of like 0.3 cards or something. Like your opponent might have a Mega in play. They might have 2 Megas in play. Like I don't know. I feel like having 2 Megas in play is pretty uncommon. Having 1 in play is, something you see, but it's not like every deck's playing Megas, and even if they are, they might not play them down. And in pre-release, your opponent's probably not going to play a Mega. So if you pull this as like, you'll probably never be able to actually draw any cards from it in pre-release. It's really, really horrendously terrible there. Ultimately, this environment for pre-release, I think, is pretty sick. Obviously, I love the no hand size stuff. Honestly, I like all the kits. I think they're pretty cool with the stuff you got going on. But tell me in the comment section what your thoughts are on the kits. But I hope you all enjoyed. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the bell, all the good stuff. And as always, I'm excited to see you in the next video.